Hi guys, welcome back to Lexalexus. We are resuming our score predictions and it's 4 videos in a row this week. I don't know what's gone over me, but I seem to have the YouTube bug again. So we're going to start predicting week 39. The countdown to the end of the championship season officially starts today. So there will be a game tomorrow from this video being released. We're going all the way to Wednesday next week on the 2nd of April because Derby have got a game against Preston due to Preston's involvement in the FA Cup quarter-final this weekend against Aston Villa. But we will include that late Wednesday game as well. So we have got 12 games to predict. As always guys, you can always leave your score predictions in the comments down below and it gives you guys an opportunity to score some points on the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. I did post the latest update of the Lexalexus Football Prediction League in my latest community post. If you do want to check it out, please do go around and see it. So I'm currently leading the way, but then what I'm going to do for prizes, if I do end up winning or end up in the top 3, what I'm going to do is that 2nd, 3rd and 4th will get a prize rather than just the top 3. But what makes that very interesting is between 3rd and 4th, Vijay and Manish, there's only, I think, 1 or 2 points separating you two. So it's all looking very, very competitive, which I'm really, really liking that region of the table. So leaving your predictions in the comments is more important than ever to score the points at this stage. And I'm always excited to see how the league changes week on week. If you guys like what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. Please do hit the subscribe button too, and please also share the channel too. All 3 of these things are free to do, will really, really help as well. 50 likes will be absolutely amazing, and we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers and we're getting ever closer. Without any further ado, let's start predicting week 39 for the championship. We start this weekend with a really big game with Sheffield United facing Coventry. It is a Friday game which will take place tomorrow, and it gives Sheffield United an opportunity to actually go to the top of the table and get some breathing distance from Leeds when they play their game against Swansea. But this is a tough game. Obviously, we are looking at the form book, and Sheffield United have been generally good at home based on what I've seen when I spoke about the promotion run-in, and so I've looked into Leeds a little bit, but I've looked into Coventry as well based on their playoff realisations. So I have looked at them quite recently, and they certainly were the informed team. But the question is, will this international break affect the form and the momentum? So it's just going to be interesting to see, can Coventry rough it up with Sheffield United, because they have been giving each of the main sides a really big game, maybe with the exception of Leeds, who dismantled them quite easily. This game is really, really tough. I am leaning towards a draw in this game. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a goal-scoring 2-2 draw. I think if I was going to back a side, I'm edging more to Sheffield United on their strong home form, but I'm going to think Coventry are going to make it quite tough, and therefore I will compromise on a draw. Next up is Hull and Luton. I spoke about the importance of this game when I covered my relegation themed video yesterday. If Luton do not pick a result here, they should start preparing for League One. They've got some massive games. Luton have got 3 crunch games all on the road, and they have got the less amount of away points alongside Plymouth, Argyle. So it is more important than ever that Luton build on their first away win for a long, long while, which they got against Cardiff, and they need to carry that form across here against a Hull City side who actually have the worst home form in the league, which has been their major problem this season. But Hull have had back-to-back home wins and picking up some really good results along the way, including one recently against Oxford and of course Plymouth. So I do think Hull are on the up in terms of their home form currently. But it's just going to be a question here, can they beat Luton? I see this game being low scoring, and it's just really going to be down to me, whoever scores first. I see a 1-goal win being the key here. And I think to really spice things up, I'm going to go for a Luton rare 1-0 away win. It could be either that or 1-0 Hull. I really do think it could go either way in that game, but if Hull win, they actually go 9 points clear of Luton and really ease any sort of relegation pressure. If Luton win, they close the gap on Hull by 3 points, and they can really start knocking on the door of trying to get out of the bottom three, and that will make things really, really exciting for a neutral. Next to predict is Watford and Plymouth Argyle. This, I think, will be an intriguing one to watch, but it's a very important one for Plymouth. They're currently 6 points off safety, and you'd think if they do not win this game, they could potentially go as worse as 9 points off safety if results do go against them. And I think at that stage, it will be impossible for Plymouth to survive. I mean, the odds are very much firmly stacked against Plymouth surviving, unfortunately. Watford have been very inconsistent all season, pretty much, but it has been their home form that Watford have had a little bit more success compared to their away form. As a prediction, I think I'm going to go for a narrow Watford 2-1 win. They did recently lose their last game before the international break against Oxford, which was a game certainly the way they performed shouldn't have lost, but I think it would make sense with their inconsistent form to have their last game as a defeat, but then bounce back with a win. So I'm going to go for a Watford home win. Next up is Burnley and Bristol City. This is a pretty awkward game because Bristol City have been doing really, really well. They've only lost twice in their last 15 matches, so Bristol City do not lose a lot of games, but they're facing a Burnley side who are still unbeaten at Turf Moor. So this is a very, very tough one for me. Could I see Bristol City gain something? They've got the players, they've certainly got the possibility to, but it's going to be a tough one for me about Burnley, whether they will be able to sustain their really, really good defence from this break from now. You know, a lot of their players were involved in international duty. Potentially that could make it a little bit difficult for the players just to feel a bit settled and go straight back into league action here. Tough on this, but I'm more or less edging to Burnley based on their strong form at Turf Moor all season. I think I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Burnley. I mean, I was toying with 1-0 or maybe even 2-1, but I just personally think if Burnley score early, I think they will be able to pull away. And I think Bristol City, whilst they will throw men forward, I think they can leave themselves exposed if they're not careful. So I'm predicting that Burnley might win pretty ugly, but I think they will get the job done. Let me know what you think in comments. Next up, we've got Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday. So I spoke about Cardiff's importance with their home games with the relegation battle video that I spoke about yesterday. And this is a game that I did predict or sort of mention that Cardiff, I think, could have a chance to get some form of a result. It's going to be interesting to see how Sheffield Wednesday are going to recover from the Steel City derby. That defeat is certainly going to hurt them, and they've had to live with that for nearly 2 weeks now, so it will be interesting to see if they can pick themselves up. And Sheffield Wednesday is still in a position where they're still not mathematically impossible to get into the top 6, but they need to have some really good and strong form now. And I did mention, I think actually Sheffield Wednesday have got a relatively nice batch of games coming up, so if they need to commence their form to get into the top 6, they need to start winning now. But Cardiff really need the points. They are really within margins just ahead of Derby. They're only just not falling into the bottom 3 as of now, and if Derby will somehow continue their strong form that they did have before the international break took place, Cardiff can find themselves in the bottom 3 easily by this weekend, so they need to be really careful. As a prediction, I think both looking for a win. I think I'll go beat a draw. I think it was a draw in a reverse fixture as well, so I'm going to go again for a draw. Probably a little bit boring, but that's how I see this game panning out. Next up, we've got Leeds going up against Swansea. Now, I think this could be a pretty big opportunity for Leeds, considering that I am predicting Sheffield United not to get 3 points against Coventry, and I'm predicting them to drop points. This could be a good chance for Leeds United to establish themselves as the team to beat at the top of the Championship. I don't want to be too dismissive to Swansea, but I do think on the road they've not been particularly strong. Leeds at Ellen Road have been strong for most of the season, only losing one game at Ellen Road all season. I think this is their game to lose, and if they do not find a way to win this one, then I do sense a bit of a Leeds United meltdown brewing with the last 8 games of the season. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win to Leeds. I think they should win this one relatively comfortably, but they do like to make things difficult for themselves, and I wouldn't be surprised either way if a completely different result entails as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we've got Middlesbrough and Oxford, 2 teams with entirely different aims, and it's going to be a very interesting game to go for, I think. Certainly, Middlesbrough would have been a bit disappointed with their performance, but they would certainly take the point against Luton, because Luton arguably should have had all 3 based on how they performed and how many chances they missed against Middlesbrough. Oxford, what an incredible win against Watford, and that win has prevented them on being only 1 point above the relegation zone. They now have, I believe, 3 points above the relegation zone, so Oxford could have found themselves in a really precarious position at this stage had they not picked up that win. So I do think whilst Oxford are in a pretty good position regarding the current relegation battle, they do have some really tough games, as I covered yesterday. Middlesbrough need to hit the ground running if they do want to get into the top 6. They don't have a million miles away to get there. They're only within a matter of points, but this is quite important. You know, teams in that region, you know, could be dropping points. Bristol City are predicting to drop points. Coventry are predicting to drop points. So this is a good chance for Middlesbrough to try and make up some ground. As a prediction, I think they're actually going to take that chance, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Middlesbrough. Close one, but I think Middlesbrough will only just slightly edge it, and that will be a crucial win for the playoff race. Speaking of top 6 sides potentially dropping points, that leads me to West Brom, as they have a tricky away game against Norwich. Norwich's form has been a bit up and down, a little bit similar to Watford. You're not really sure what you could get with this Norwich side, but when it clicks, you do see a Norwich side that is very talented going forward, but defensively quite shambolic. West Brom certainly have not been as points heavy as they have been on the road, with a couple of draws on the road, so wouldn't be surprised if we may see another one here. Norwich are slowly entering the position where I think they will be starting to enter the beach. I don't think they've got the form to take them into the top 6 now, and they certainly are way too good to go down this stage. So there is that danger that Norwich either put their foot off the pedal and don't really turn up, or with them being on the beach, they could feel absolutely relaxed and they could absolutely go for it. So it's a very strange time now to be predicting these games, but as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, I think. I think West Brom will find it a little bit tricky. I think Norwich will make it difficult, and I think both teams will have the capability of getting the ball in the back of the net. So I'm going to go for a scoring draw. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we've got Portsmouth going up against Blackburn. This, I think, is a very crucial game for Portsmouth. They've got 2 back-to-back away games coming up, which, as we know, based on covering Portsmouth yesterday, Portsmouth's home form, very, very strong. The away form, not strong at all. And this is going to be a very crucial game, I think. If Portsmouth can win this and put themselves on 45 points, I think they will be in a position where they can realistically look at their last 7 games, win 1, if not 2 of them, then I think Portsmouth will have enough points to survive. Blackburn, their form is certainly making them a little bit in a disadvantage in this game, and it will be interesting to see, will they improve now that they've had that international break and Vladimir Ishmael has now settled a little bit in his role as Blackburn manager, or is the form going to continue in the last 7 games or 8 games, and it's going to mean that Blackburn just continue to pummel down the leagues? They've already got it pretty tough to get into the top 6, considering it was a position where they were flirting with all season until now. Such a shame how they've collapsed. And honestly, I think with this game, I think Portsmouth are the favourites just based on their home form recently. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Portsmouth here, and that will certainly give them a big boost of survival. Next up is Stoke and QPR. Stoke, I did not predict them to go down. Certainly their form suggests that they are entering relegation form, but with that break in that momentum with the international break, it is a good opportunity for Stoke to reset. This game, though, I think is so important. I spoke about the importance of Hull playing Luton, for instance. That is a very important game. But for Stoke's season, they really need to start picking up these home wins. It was a devastating defeat last time around against Millwall to drop points in the last minute of the game. QPR did well against Leeds with 2-0 up, but didn't quite have enough to keep Leeds at bay and had to settle for a draw in the end. Oh, both sides will be wanting a win. I think a win for QPR, they'll be, they can't really complain. They'll know that they'll survive, but I think it's really going to be tough for them, even if QPR win this game and try and get into the top 6 at this stage. As a prediction, I'm really tempted to give Stoke a win, but I think I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be quite a frustrating game again for Stoke, and you do wonder if they're going to be around that 21st, maybe even 22nd region, just due to games where they've had the potential, but they've just not taken their chances. So I'm going to go for a draw, and quite unhelpful for Stoke. Our penultimate game sees Sunderland going up against Millwall. This is going to be intriguing. Can Sunderland get back to winning ways? They have had 2 poor games in a row, drawing against Preston, and then a devastating defeat against Coventry, a fellow top 6 rival, losing by 3-0. Certainly one of their heaviest defeats all season. Mill, of course, will be buzzing with that 1-0 win over Stoke. It does keep their playoff hopes ever so slightly alive, if little as anything, but it does make things really, really interesting in that region of the table. Sunderland do have a lot of injuries in their back line at the moment, which is going to make things very difficult defensively, but there's still so much talent, especially in the midfield and especially with the people that they have got to offer for goals. And Millwall certainly can offer a shot. They can certainly make things tough. I think as a prediction here, I'm going to go for a draw. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Certainly Millwall have got the capability of getting a result, but I think the quality of Sunderland will at least give them a home draw. But I think with Sunderland's squad being a bit depleted at the moment, I just think it's going to be difficult for them to pick up 3 points. Our final prediction this weekend is the midweek game on Wednesday, the 2nd of April. Derby going up against Preston. So for context here, Derby would have had a very long break, and that's going to really make things very handy for them when they do eventually play against Preston, who may be pretty fatigued if they go strong against Aston Villa with a hope to try and get into the semi-final of the FA Cup. So probably having a bit of conflict, but then the way that I see it, Preston have got nothing to play for in the Championship. Why not go all out in the FA Cup and try and die trying to get into that semi-final place? Who knows? Preston could find themselves in a position where they could potentially make it to a semi-final and if not a final. So yeah, if I was a Preston fan, I'd be wanting Preston to really go for it in this FA Cup quarter final. They've not been there in a long, long while. But it does give them a bit of a disadvantage in this game, and Preston's away form as a whole has not been particularly strong. Derby have been a lot better at home, but of course Derby have had those 3 wins in a row. But my question is, with them playing a lot later, if they would have seen the events of the relegation battle, could that bring more pressure, knowing that Derby may have a chance to get out of the bottom 3? Or could it demoralise them if they know they can't get out of the bottom 3 due to results going against them? So I think how the other 11 games go will depend on how Derby feel going into this game. But I'll also be interested to see, is the momentum going to continue despite the 2 weeks off league football? I'm going to say Derby do win though. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory to Derby. I think it'll be pretty close, but with this win, I think we could start seeing Derby climb out of the position they find themselves, and it'll surely give John Eustace his long overdue credit of taking Derby on. Let me know what you think though in the comments. Alright guys, that is my predictions for week 39. As always, guys, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Please do let me know how you feel your team is going to do this weekend, and please do feel free to share your score predictions as well in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. All three of these things are free to do, and they really do help the growth of this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if it's sunny end of this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.